For too many years, families of children with devastating illnesses have felt helpless as they watch their child suffer. Today, they're taking matters into their own hands and finally finding relief treating their child with cannabis. This is one family's story.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to another episode of
Love and Cannabis.
I am Nina.
I'm Osiris.
And we are the proud parents of Aiden.
Hey everyone, how you guys doing out there? Welcome to another episode. Hope everyone's doing great.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We've been getting a lot of responses from our podcast as of late. We want to thank everybody for listening in. And for those who have been reaching out, family and friends, thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate the support because it takes a lot to do this. It's not something, people may think is easy, but it's, it takes some time, especially when you're raising a child and, we have, work schedules and all those things that may interfere, but we both feel this is something necessary. So we appreciate you and your time to, sit in and listen in to what we have to share.
Yeah. So that being said, this episode, we're going to talk about other things that we did with Aiden outside of the CBD use.
It's a laundry list, I tell you that much.
Yeah, we do a lot with him and we're not afraid to try different things.
I think we take it too far sometimes.
Maybe.
I think.
I know.
But I realize that we have to, because if we leave it to the doctors, they'll try it. So why not us, since we have to be with him every day and we have to be the ones to really, he's here with us. So we should be the ones to try these experiments that we research and we understand, we develop. And the fact that we have such different backgrounds and experiences, it helps.
Definitely helps.
I think I recall that when I was home with him and he was getting physical therapy, because when kids have disabilities, you're able to get services. Like in New York, you pretty much can get the gambit of services available to you. And one of the 3 services I received between physical therapy, speech, and occupational therapy. Physical therapy he was getting it at home. So it was like he was 3 years old. We'd have a physical therapist come in and work with him. One of the things that he would do was just stretch his legs, because at the time he was really tight. What was it? Like his hamstrings were tight, his calves, what was it? The Achilles heel. Mm-hmm. That was really tight on him. So he would spend a lot of time stretching him. So every day he'll come in a half an hour and just stretch his legs, just stretch them. And I'm thinking to myself, but his legs are weak. He really couldn't, at the time, he couldn't really walk up and down the stairs. Really had issues. He would walk on his toes. That was a major issue with us, the fact that he did that. And we ended up getting braces for him, which was really uncomfortable. We felt bad for him. But one of the things that I did since I was home with him is that I helped him learn how to walk up and down the stairs. Mind you, folks, we're in the city. We don't have an elevator.
We're in a 4-4 walk up.
Yeah, so I counted one day. It was like 40 steps.
Yeah, I think it's even more like 80.
Really? Is 80? That's double what I just said. 80, that's a lot of steps. I got to count that.
Yeah, it's a lot of steps.
Well, if you go up and down, yes. Yeah. If you go up and down, it's 80, just 80 steps a day that you have to. And that does not include getting to the train station, which is about 30 seconds to 45 seconds walk. And then you're going another 2 to 3 flights down those steps. So Aiden, I had to work with Aiden with that, going up and down the steps, to really strengthen up his muscles and his cores and learning how to really walk those flights. Because at the time, I wasn't really feeling 100% while he was home with me. And so I was like, hey, Aiden, I can't carry you. You're just a big bundle of joy. We got to have you walking up and down the stairs. And felt that also that would help him with his physical therapy, one. And secondly, it would help him with his strength. Because things that he was doing early on, he was right on schedule for development. But then after the seizures, everything just seemed to stop. And his balance was off. His walking skills were off. Even his speech has stopped, really, and which was kind of strange. So it really concerned us, and especially for me, because I'm home with him now.
Yeah. It was a scary time when he was having quite a few seizures, like the days where you have 100+ seizures a day. My background is physical therapy, and I knew by Aiden not being active, that would be more detriment to his brain. I knew there's something that we had to do in a safe space to always keep him active when he was having bad days.
Yeah, that's kind of hard too.
And it was very hard. I remember he was having one of his worst days, just constant jerk seizures. I said, okay, what can I do to work his brain, but in a safe space? So I said, okay, I'll put him in the stroller and then I'll bring him to the sandbox. Because I knew...
I remember that. You said that. You mentioned that in one of our episodes, yeah.
So I said, okay, if he's in the sandbox, at least if he falls, he's, on the sand, I could sit right next to him. But at the same time, he could work his upper body by sitting up, unsupported, and he could work his arms by, playing with the sand and get some, functional play in. And that's the kind of things, we did. We wanted, despite what was going on, we wanted to somehow keep him active.
Yeah.
And physical activity is very important to me. And I know the importance of physical activity and brain function.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was interesting because one of the things when he started trying to feed himself, he's a righty, so he would use his right hand. I would move the spoon to his left hand and hold down his right hand and kind of force him to use his left hand to pick it up. Mm-hmm. It was just something just to keep him engaged, keep him involved in knowing if you're that hungry, you're going to lift you're going to lift one of those hands to get it. And it was forcing his brain or him in general just to go after the left spoon because I'm hungry. I'm going to scoop this food up. It is awkward, but I'm going to do it. And he would do it. He would literally he would go left hand and pick up the spoon and try to feed himself. And that was interesting how he really pushed himself when he wanted to do something.
Yeah, so that was perfect what you did, Osiris, because sometimes it's good to work both sides of the body. Mm-hmm. Because if you're working the right side of your body, you're strengthening the left side. And if you're working the left side of your body, you're strengthening the right brain.
How does that work? Because I know you mentioned it before, and the things that would do it, Aiden, you'd watch and you'd explain. It's it's still not clear to me because I know the action, but I don't know the title or the label to what it is I'm doing with him.
So basically, it just not to get into this whole neuroscience, technical neuroscience lesson is that you want to work your whole brain. So if you're so you don't want to only work when you work out. You don't work out only one side of your body. You have to work out both.
Yeah.
So that innately you were doing that without knowing the science.
Yeah. So what is this? I mean, there's a name for it, right?
So basically, when you have a developing brain, the brain is plastic. Mm-hmm. So it's called neuroplasticity, meaning that the brain can change. It's not just a fixed state. So even if you have some damage to your brain from a stroke or seizures or traumatic injury, there's an ability that you can heal from these things.
Really? You know what? It's interesting that you mentioned that because I recall you I remember you were doing a conference or a speaking engagement to patients who had a stroke. And I recall you talking about this, and I was like, well, how do we apply that? And you said, well, you're rewiring the brain. If you're causing the part of the brain to work in a certain way. So it was kind of confusing. I'm like, okay, what I'm trying to understand is that, okay, so one side of the brain is not really active. So working that other active brain kind of rewires the left, right? Or the right, or whatever is not working, basically. It kind of forces it to kind of rewire itself so it can extend. So the live part of the brain, the rewiring goes over to the left. Or
it can.
Right.
That can happen.
Really?
That was seen in some patients with strokes.
That's
that
amazing.
One, say the certain part of the left part of the brain is damaged, a different part of the brain will take over, and sometimes that's where you see people have complete recovery.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I knew that exercise was really important. So
yes.
We always stress that with Aiden. We're the type of parents that have him at the playground when it's like 35 degrees. Like,
yeah,
that's
true.
Like he has to get out. Like,
he
has to work his brain. He has to keep active, keep strong, because he's having seizures, and because the seizures can be damaging to him. So we knew that, he always had to be active. For example, lately I've been doing this thing where we go on runs. Because one of my professors said that they did a study and they found out that running also has some neuroprotective properties, which means that just runners have less neurodegenerative damage when they looked at runners' brains versus people who didn't run.
Neurodegenerative was you got to explain. I'm sorry.
Just basically,
I'm layman.
Just basically that the brain wasn't. The aging process was slowed down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it could protect the brain from damage. They said running.
It's the same thing like CBD does.
It's very similar to CBD.
So cannabis helps with the slowing down the process itself
of the brain damage. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing too.
So me and Aiden would go on runs. We gave him a scooter. Tell him about the scooter thing that you did. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was interesting, the scooter, because, as I stated before, Aiden's righty, so he would always use his right leg to push off. So that was his push off, the right leg. So I watched him. I would record him as he started doing this and working. There was a time where he couldn't even push off for a while. It took him some time just on the right leg because his muscles were so weak. Mm-hmm. And as time progressed, months, even close to a year of him strengthening his legs and able to push off his right, I said, well, what's going on with his left? Let's try the left. Let's switch it up. So I asked him, I said, Aiden, push off on your left. It took him a while just to even process that information that he needs to use his left leg. So I would have to literally put his right leg on the scooter, keep his left leg on the floor, on the ground, and have him push himself. The kid couldn't do anything. He stood still. For some reason, there was a breakdown in the process of him using his left side. Like nothing moved. And when it did move, it was like he was just walking. He could not propel himself forward. He couldn't even get that push off like he would go on his right. We did this every day. Since I saw that, I was like, okay, this is the game plan. You're going to work your left every day. I'm not even going to ask you about your right. Every time I see you go on your right, you're going to your left, and you're going to keep working. I would say literally it took him 2 days. I thought it was going to take him longer. It literally took him 2 days to figure it out and started moving. But I would say by the fourth week, he was using the fourth day. It seemed like as if his left and right were the same. They were worked in conjunction. It was literally amazing to watch him.
It was amazing because I was like, how come I didn't think of this?
Hey, you're the PT.
Yeah,
you get paid for this stuff.
I'm like, that's genius. Just work the other side, the other leg, so we can work the other side of the brain. So I was like, wow. And just like any skill, after a while, he got really good.
Yeah, he switches his up not to be cute.
Yeah,
you'll see him now. He doesn't even look in the direction he's going to. He'll switch it up. I'm like, wow, okay. But that came through, and that's one of the things I noticed though with him. It's repetition. He just has to go. But I mean, there are some families out there who have kids that are not at that stage, who are still trying to get their balances. Like, there's kids out there who are stationary. I mean, we talked about that, especially if a child's on CBD and they're stationary, who may not have a fast metabolism like Aiden, and those, CBD oil may act differently than they would in them than it would for Aiden. So the same thing would probably apply as well as for neuroplasticity in the exercising. If they're not being able physically to go out to do something, is there something they can do stationary that would keep them?
Yeah, they're definitely, if they can handle it, there are definitely exercises that they can do sitting down. Mm-hmm. Not sure if it was, there's definitely a lot of things they can do sitting down if they're able to do it repetitively.
Like what? One of the things I remember someone told me is like, I would raise sugar, like a pound of sugar bags or 3 pounds bags, and just raise them with one hand, switch it up. Or even someone who had surgery from carpal tunnels, they would take a can and they would just do wrist curls. So
it's basically basically you have to continue physical activity. And I know for us, a lot of people would be like, would say, wow, you do all that with your son and he has seizures?
Like, yeah. And what was amazing about him, though, is that, especially like if he's doing homework, if he has a seizure while he's doing the assignment, he'll have a seizure, get upset for a little quick because he hates the feeling. Oh my God, this kid hates the feeling. But then he'll get himself together and like, I gotta finish. It's like this energy, like this tenacity, like I have to finish. Whatever he has started, he has to finish it. And which is amazing to watch. It's like, wow, he is determined.
He's a very determined child.
I have to ask you though, how much does that plays from neuroplasticity, the rewiring? How much of that plays into it?
I definitely think it is huge.
It's a huge difference.
I think, yeah. I think because we're fortunate that our brains aren't fixed. So that every time I know that he has the ability to get better, and then it gives us like a sense of hope.
He picks up quick on things. It takes him time, but once he gets it, it's like he's hooked on it. I noticed that with like games online, certain things, he grabs the phone. I remember the time he couldn't even repeat numbers. Now he's repeating numbers. Now he knows like our passcodes to our cell phones.
Yeah, so it's nice to see when you literally see
you got your credit card on that phone.
It's nice to see when your child's healing.
Yeah, it is. It is great because especially when you start at the beginning thinking like, what's going to happen? What's going to become of him? And then you see these changes and you're like, okay, we're on the right track. We just got to keep pushing him, keep moving forward, feeding him the right foods, giving him exercise, eating, drinking, water, all those things that he needs for his body to develop, especially the brain is so fragile.
It is fragile, but yet strong because it could take the trauma and still recover. And I've seen that. Yeah,
I remember you told me the story about that one patient who couldn't walk. And after you were done with him, he was walking and he was like in marathons. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So I've seen some amazing recoveries from brain injuries. Patients that couldn't even sit up without two people holding them up. Leave the rehab gym. They leave the unit walking. That shows that our brain has the potential to recover from a lot of trauma. So never give up on your kids.
No, I don't think any parent wants to give up on a child.
Don't think that, this is it. There's always some room for improvement.
Oh, always. I think it's more up to the parent. It really is. You know what? It's not I think. I know it's up to the parent because your child's dependent on you. You got to set the table, the standards, or situation for where you can help your child develop. And it's hard, especially when you got to work. You got financials, you got the relationship, you got all these things. But if everything around you is about that child's development, it will come together. And it's like you put that game plan. If you have family and friends that come over, like, hey, spend some time with my child, help them, develop. It's like for our family, I tell my brothers and sisters that, hey, when you guys come over, I want you to spend time with my son. But at the same time, I want you to teach him something different. It's not that he just sees us all the time, that he gets something from his aunt and uncles and his godfather and his godmother. He gets a different experience. And then he could add that to his repertoire in the sense of his development. That helps. I mean, like they say, it takes a community to build a child. And it comes from a situation like this as well.
Yeah, definitely. It just got to keep working with your child and try to figure out how they learn. I think that's also was a
support. We didn't know where he was and then take him to the next level. Yeah, that's so important. But that comes from spending time with your child too, watching him, observing, giving him certain situations to be in. Giving things. I remember one time when Aiden, I wasn't too sure if he could not crawl, but to get out of a crib because you watch YouTube channels, you see kids escape from their crib. And I would watch Aiden try to get out. And I'm like, okay, I got to help him do it the right way. So I would literally teach him how to get his right leg over, then his leg follow, his hands hold on to one part of the, upper part of the bed, and then have him slide down. A couple times he did escape on his own. Didn't turn out right. You'll hear him screaming in the background, coming out of the hallway, hey, I fell on the bed and nobody came out. But I think for kids, it's, just basically children that they need that support. They need that training. You have to look at your child as an athlete preparing for their profession or their sport. and you help them exercise. You develop a game plan, right?
Definitely.
You would schedule it too. Like, you can't just be all exercise. I mean, there's learning process and exercise, but there's also the parts of the reading, the writing. Even if the child is young, just have them hold certain things. Because I think, it goes along the line of, occupational therapy. You use your hands, your fingers, and your motor skills in dealing with that.
Yeah, so we figured out that Aiden needed a lot of repetition.
Yeah.
A lot of repetition. So we taught him all his letters, all his sounds, which is like basically all we did all day.
Man, we would have that YouTube on.
YouTube.
We listened to YouTube for so long just to watch.
We figured out how he learned, so I started teaching him the letter sounds through movement. I figured out
that was excellent.
That movement, some kids with special needs, they learn through movement. So Aiden's one of those. So I taught him letter sounds by pairing a letter with a motion.
If you guys are not sure what that is, just look it up on YouTube. Everything's there.
Everything's on YouTube. And another reason why I knew that exercise is really important is that one time we were at the park and Aiden said a sentence while moving. So I realized there's a connection between the brain and our physical abilities. So I noticed that kids tend to say a lot of their first words by walking, when they're walking.
Oh, really? Oh.
Aiden was more vocal when he was moving and he was at the park.
One of the things I started doing with him was as he walked down the stairs, I would count. I would have him count this. I would have him count one step.
Yep.
Yeah, what step are you on? 1, 2, 3, as we go all the way down up to 40. And then do the same coming up. And then times I would change it where I would count up the first 10 steps and then start it again. Or then I would just count all the way through. And he remembers that. Now he starts to do it on his own. I don't even have to say anything. He starts counting on his own, which is amazing too.
Gotcha.
I think every parent, every opportunity is a learning moment.
Basically.
And so you transition that into your personal life. Your child, like if you're in a room with your child and they haven't spoken, you just point out certain things. This is a cabinet. This is a glass. It's a refrigerator. This is a floor. Those things, one of the things that we did was put, just basically sheets of paper lining out what it was. So
we labeled stuff.
We labeled it. I apologize. We labeled everything. So the door, the kitchen, the bathroom, the sink, the mirror, the window, the shades. So every time he looked up, he saw something and we would mention, oh, you're looking at the shade. You're looking at the floor. This is a TV. All those things. This is a phone. So, and then we would repeat it constantly. So when he started actually speaking, he would know what they were.
Yeah. So you're responsible for your child. Even though Aiden got therapy, and he has a teacher, we don't depend on anyone else to educate our child.
Not at all. Because there's only 30 minutes a session?
Yeah. He's in school the whole day too, but at the same time, I don't depend on the teachers.
No, it's all us.
It's on us.
Yeah, because he spends most of his time with us, actually.
So you always have to don't depend on the therapist. You have to do your own research.
Research and also doing the
and helping them, yeah. So they can go to school, they have their therapy, but also you have to have the time where they're learning from their mom or dad, grandma, like you said, uncles, aunts.
It's a family affair.
It has to be like a family affair.
Especially if you have a babysitter, have the babysitter get involved as well. If you're getting therapy at home, set something together. Pretty much like a schedule. Like, this is the things we expect. These are the things I need to have done. These things I want to do, and we'll follow up because it's so important. Every day, every minute, every second is so important. And so you can imagine what every day is like. It can be, and will be a lot. But the end result is something amazing when you see them wake up and you're like, wow. And you're going to just basically say to yourself, like, all the hard work is starting to pay off.
So, Osiris, I have a question for you.
Really? Boy, here we go. So, are we done? Is that what you're saying right now? Because you go right into the question.
You were also going through your own health issues simultaneously when Aiden was going through his peak of seizures?
Peak. I would say basically
So
2 to 3 days after I came out of the hospital.
yeah. So we never really discussed that.
I don't think it's something that we wanted to talk about. I don't think we were ready to talk about it.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
And it started before he was diagnosed with his epilepsy. So this was something that was going on for about at least 4 months leading up, 4 to 5 months leading up. Yeah, so it was December, January going into that year.
So do you want to kind of do a Q&A with me next episode just to get a feeling, just to know what you were going through at the time?
So we're going to do this here. You never asked me, so you want to do this?
Next episode.
You want to do this?
Yeah, why not?
You want to know the truth?
I guess so.
You can't handle the truth. We'll find out.
I'm excited.
Really?
Well, I shouldn't say excited.
But yeah, I was like, I don't think I would use that word.
Curious.
More like nervous.
Yeah, nervous.
Your nervous laugh there. Yeah, there was a lot going on that I wasn't even aware of. But yeah, so I will share with you the things that was going on there, because I would have to say it was scary, to say the least. It was scary.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. You're gonna probably need to get that pen ready, because there's gonna be a lot to take in.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for listening in for another episode. We want to basically say we look forward to hearing from you guys, and we look forward to getting any responses, positive, negative, whatever the case may be, or even topics that you guys think that we should talk about. But we love the feedback, we love the connection, and we hope that we're helping people out there as well, just to give them some insight to what they're going through and let them know that you're not alone.
You're not alone.
It's a we thing at this point. We're all going through it.
All right.
So everyone, take care.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Love and Cannabis. I'm Nina.
I'm Osiris.
And we're the proud parents of Aiden.
Be strong.
And stay empowered.